Um, let's talk about Preston then, your character Preston, because I'm guessing here, I'm not an actor. I'm guessing he is an appealing role for an actor to play. Growing up, watching movies, were there certain kinds of characters that you saw, maybe even specific characters, that really influenced the choices you're making now as an actor, including, for example, Preston?
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's nice of you to ask, because I think Preston is totally within the vein of the characters that I've and performances that I've revered growing up. I think I love, nuanced, complex characters, which feels like a bit of a, stock answer. But I think I've also admired slightly operatic, big performances as well. Like I mean, I admire all and sort of understand sort of as I got older, subtlety is vital. And but there are performances like I remember John Leguizamo in Romeo and Juliet, and the sort of like matador kind of positions that he was pulling in that petrol station gunfight. Like, I mean, Heath Ledger's the Joker, Gary Oldman in True Romance. Like, people are
Every
taking sort of
Nicolas
slightly
Cage
bizarre.
performance ever.
Yeah, basically, and just or interview as well. Um, I, and yeah. I mean, like, of course, like Daniel Day Lewis. I remember being really struck seeing the trailer and then loving the film, but really struck seeing the trailer for The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson. And the very first trailer was a scene that wasn't actually in the final film, I don't think. And it's kind of like Freddie Quell, Joaquin Phoenix's character, almost kind of getting some sort of psych test with a guy from the army. And he's got this he's pulling this almost like Popeye-esque face. And it's so dangerous and delicate and nuanced, but also kind of massive as well. And those things, I remember being like, wow, that's acting. Because also, like, humans, like, we're all massive. Like, you pick anyone on the street and that's a very strong walk that person's got, or this person's speech pattern, or their gestures. We're all so different. But I think there's almost sometimes I've learned working that often you kind of bring things to yourself, where I think there's a real amazingness, to use a non-word, in sort of going beyond yourself as well and kind of going bigger than life, which Preston, because of the conundrum of who he is, has become that. As I say, the film's about drag, and drag is sort of, I guess, taking an element of yourself and turning the volume up to 11, and in hiding certain aspects of himself, he's done that with this kind of hyper macho, hyper sort of fashionable persona, that is both truthful and part of who he is, and also totally a front.
Thank you so much for watching this interview. I'd love it if you would check out some of the other interviews on our channel. They're all fascinating and unique trips to the movies with some wonderful, wonderful guests. And if you would like to find out more, do hit us up on our social channels. We are at Trip to Movies Pod. That's at Trip to Movies Pod on all social media, with lovely content on there. And you can get in touch with us if you so wish. Thanks again.